What's up, folks? Back with another reaction, back with some more Aha, and we're moving on to the next album in their catalog, East of the Sun, West of the Moon, or for me, East of the Sun, West of the Moon. Yeah, I'm intrigued by the title of the album alone. Obviously, it speaks to like relative position, but also like cardinal directions, although the way you view those, I suppose, depends on whether you're from the northern or southern hemisphere and the way you see the globe. In any case, yeah, we're speaking to both terrestrial and celestial concepts in multiple directions. So there's a different angles and like an intersection of some different themes just in the album title alone, which I like. We're moving into the 1990s. This is 1990 proper. And a number of you have pointed out that this represents a major breaking point for the group in terms of their stylistic approach. My understanding is it's going to be more of like a pop rock sound, more guitar driven, less synth work. Eventually, my understanding is that they gravitate back to synth work, but in a perhaps slightly different idiom or arrangement as their sort of, let's say, classic albums in the 80s. So yeah, bottom line, I'm intrigued for this next phase in the journey. Shout out to all the Aha people. Very informative, very friendly, and very enthusiastic and loving for the incredible music and composition of this tune, as I've already learned after only three albums. That's certainly enough to impress me something fierce, and at that they have. Vocally, synth work, the bass, the drum machine work, ultimately the arrangement, the sequencing, and the composition of the tunes has impressed me, as much as anything else. So even if we're going to hear a slightly different sound, I imagine the sort of arrangement and the sort of the again composition or putting together of the tune will continue to be at the very highest standards. So I have no doubt of that. But yeah, the tune that we're going to listen to is called Crying in the Rain, which, it's a very sort of like classic image, used in art, both visual and narrative. It speaks to someone who is at the absolute rock bottom, at the sort of like the most destitute and hopeless, because the idea is that there is darkness and pain both internally and externally. The idea that there are tears coming out of your eyes because of the emotional suffering. I suppose one could cry like tears of joy in the rain, but I think that runs counter to the typical motif. So yeah, the idea is that the waterworks are running because of what's happening in your mind and your life and interactions or connections you may have, or those that used to exist and don't anymore, which I feel like it's the most likely place for a conceptual home for this concept. But then also you are out in the elements, you are exposed to inclement weather, and therefore you are subject to sort of the pain and burden of the external world, of the earth itself. So crying in the rain is someone who is suffering both inside and out. Perhaps there's a suggestion that they're so pained about what's happening that they're not scurrying for cover or seeking to get an umbrella out or anything. They're just awash in the sort of deluge because they can't get past what's causing them pain in their head. So it speaks to a very desperate and hopeless, or at least pained and suffering frame of mind, and it paints a very vivid picture, a dark and forlorn picture. So we'll have to see if there's any irony to it, or sort of a counter thread, or a strain where it will turn the other way. But that's the sort of melancholic image that it gives to me. Let's get it. This is Aha, the first tune on their 1990 album East of the Sun, West of the Moon, and it's called Crying in the Rain. which have some more energy, some more pace, some more grit. But that was rich and smooth and lush and warm. Like, it just felt very enriching, even if, like, in a way, whether it's more like, I don't want you to know that I'm suffering because we're not together, which is what I was thinking at first, that it's like, I'm not going to give you the satisfaction, so to speak, of knowing that I'm upset about losing you. Toward the end, it felt maybe on the flip side of that. It was more like, I don't want you to, worry about the way I'm feeling. I don't want you to have to think that, you put me in this state. So I'm going to pray for stormy weather and, just let that mask the way I'm really feeling. But at some point in the future, rest assured, I will smile again and I will walk in the sunshine. Yeah, it's a powerful tune lyrically, even if I'm not fully sure of exactly the angle on a couple of the elements. Musically, it was very textured and rich, as I said, very satisfying and again, sort of uplifting. So yeah, what a brilliant opener. Looking forward to the sound. But again, I feel like that was a bit more in like a ballad kind of format. It was a bit more like epic and sweeping. So yeah, really cool choice to start the album. Looking forward to this deep dive too. Shout out to all the AHA people. I know there's a number of people who've been sort of waiting for this transition. I'm very excited to go through this phase. Do let me know what you think of the song. I will see you next time. Peace.